Mr. Dire, a former senator who is seeking a second term as governor, has scored a total of 173,909 votes from 6 local governments so far declared. So it's clear that Governor Doediri is ahead on the polls, and there are only 2 local government areas to be counted. Of course, we know that those 2 local government areas are heavily populated, and we hope that the turnout was also high. There were some pockets of complaints also in Bayelsa, but it could not be measured with that we have in Kogi and Imo states. Election observers, as well as a lot of other stakeholders, including people who went there to vote, have complained in one way or the other. Now, the question is has this, compared to all the other elections we've had, has this been an improvement, or it's a retrogression on the part of INEC? All this we'll be discussing. We'll take a short break. Thereafter, we'll be right back to have a full discussion on the election so far. Join us again.
Broadcast and entertainment, sports on the go, and news around the world. Watch Spectrum TV on StarTimes DTH channel 421 and free-to-air frequency 12733. Visit our website spectrumtvlive.ng. Spectrum TV, broadening your horizon.
One truth not often told is about the transformation that Africa has undergone in recent decades. Africa is shaping its own destiny and should be referred to as the African opportunity. On Spotlight Africa, We paint the African picture the African way, laced with truth, detail, and the color of the African continent. Join Uyai Anyekan every Tuesday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. Spotlight Africa, telling the African story. One truth.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the real matter of the day. By the power conferred on me, I, Professor Fashinu Abayomi Sunday, hereby satisfied that I am the returning officer for the 2023 Imo State governorship election held on the 11th day of November 2023. The elections, Party APP, Achilike Adamson Obiese, scored 306 votes. Party BP, Iwanyam Isaac, scored 617 votes. Party LP, represented by Achonu Ineji, scored 64,081, 64081. Oduneze Uchebe, represent MPP, score 1062, 162. Party NRL, represented by Okwara Lawrence Cole, score 344 votes, 344 votes. Party PDP, represented by Anyamu Samuel Nemeka, score 71503 votes, 71503 votes. Party PRP, 1,075. Lastly, Party ZLP, represented by Andy Chibuke, score 805. That is Odima Odidika, Good Hope of APC, having certified the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Signed as the returning officer, Fashinu Abayomi Sunday, dated 12th day of November 2023.
I, Professor Johnson Orama, hereby certify that 1. I am the returning officer for the 2023 Kogi State governorship election held on the 11th day of November 2023. The election was contested. The candidates received the following votes. 1. Jibrin Osman Oyibe of Party A received 1254 votes. 1254 votes. 2. Brahimo Olayinka Dino of PDP received 46362 votes. 46362 votes. Dr. Abdullahi Bayawo of PRP received 781 votes. 781 votes. Yakubu Murtala of SDP received 259052 votes. 259052 votes. Ombale Samson Agada of YPP received 868 votes. 868 votes. Suleiman Taye Fatima of ZLP received 227 votes. 227 votes. And Ahmed Osman Ododo of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you very much.
It's 11.
11.
There are 11 words. AP 21. APC 5349. APC 5349. ABGA 06. ABGA 06. Total valid votes. Total valid votes 23918. 23918. Rejected votes. Rejected votes 141. 141. Total votes cast. Total votes cast 24059. 24059. Thank you very much.
Thank you, the LGO coalition officer. Please, let's have one house. Praise, please. I think we can do better, please. I have requested that let's be patient, let's be diligent, let's be matured in our conduct so that we can have a smooth operation of this exercise, please. So, the coalition officer, any cancellation of results?
No cancellations.
Thank you. Party agents, any observation, please? Was there, local government, was there a place where there was no election? No. The coalition officer, please.
No.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, party agents.
My name is Action Reporter from Kogi, the State Commission agent for the PDP. If you look at the galaxy of personalities that have constituted this forum, you can see that it is indeed a highly opposed country. It will not be proper for us to just make statements that will cast aspersions anyhow. Let us, whatever we say, should be based on solid foundation. In that particular area, there was nothing.
Sorry, Honorable, please, I apologize, I'm not interjecting, but please, he has made his comment. I think
there's nothing wrong with to clarify issues for the sake of the records, because you can see that the media is here, everybody is here. What I'm saying is that there should be some foundation. Let us know the guiding rules here. This is not the first time myself and my friends have been involved. We employ interpret language. We are supposed to be decorous. We are supposed to be polite, frankly, with one another. We work together to ensure that the purpose is achieved. But if we do not have proper, if we are not guided properly, and we just it's not fair. Because we are talking about an area that's where elections should be peaceful, and we look at it.
All right, we'll now move straight to the conversations. I have virtually joining me Citizen MKO of Open Forum, a close observer of the off-cycle elections. Citizen MKO, good morning to you. Good morning. Okay, good morning. Check whether...
Yeah, I can hear you. Good morning.
Okay, it's better now. All right, you've seen the entire process of cycle elections. I don't know. Generally speaking, would you say our elections in Nigeria have moved a bit on the path of progress as regards the process of conducting our elections? Or have we rescinded yet again? Kindly give your general assessment first. Let's start from your general assessment.
Elections in Nigeria, unfortunately for me and for a number of commentators that I have listened to, uh, who have heard their views, even this morning on various media spaces. Uh, of Virtually every other person is raising concern that we are losing it. It is not the hope that was given, it is not the promise that was made, not the excitement that we got when the 2022 Electoral Act, as amended, uh, give hope that we are going to have more transparent and rancor-free, relatively rancor-free electoral processes. Uh, this is not the case so far, and coming out from the last general elections, which turned out to be something that gave even the winners concern, talk less of the losers who had to go to court, who had to even go overseas to get facts to come and anchor their cases. Unfortunately, the outcome, the overall outcome, has taken a very tremendous toll on the integrity of the electoral umpire. So going into these off-cycle elections, 3 states, and unfortunately, the 3 states happen to be flashpoints. All the states rank among the number of states in the country where they have always been concerned about the outcomes of their elections. And that has been made worse by insecurity occasioned by what is called unknown gunmen or ESN or whatsoever other militant groups that have really taken over Imo State and the entire political system there. And what happened to the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Joe Ajero. It's unfortunate that the outcome so far is not something we can breathe and we just take a deep breath and say, oh, thank God, things are getting better. Things are not getting better, but that by itself is a call for patriots to rise up and share their thoughts, not because you are a member of party A or B who wants to save the country, who wants the country to make progress. The path we are currently treading is not leading us to progress. It's not leading us to anywhere we can say, oh, this would be something to write home about. So we must do something about it deliberately. That's my thought for now.
Okay, so you are of the opinion that we have retrogressed in terms of the quality of the process of our elections, judging from these off-cycle elections.
Absolutely. And that retrogression has been given pep, has been given speed by the outcome of the last court, principally the presidential elections, and the fact that there is supposed to be the guide, which is the Electoral Act. But what we had was that INEC was given a blank check that they could decide whatever mode to conduct elections, how to transmit results. So the Electoral Act that most people held on to, as it's virtually, it's like non-existent. So if you are going to elections and both voters and the contestants are not sure that if somebody plays a fool, the Electoral Act and the Constitution will be able to bring such a person to book. And add that to the slogan that says, go to court. And that did not just come from a candidate. It came from INEC itself, who had clearly owned up that there was a glitch, a major glitch for that matter. You could not transmit result as you promised. And then you said that doesn't amount to anything. And then the court says, INEC, even if you had promised to conduct elections using this method, you can change the method along the line. So people who are now contesting, and even in future, until something is done about it, future contestants will have to adopt what is kind of unofficially a new template of grab it, snatch it, run with it. And until you have people, citizens in all directions, and security agents who are working for the country and not for individuals, who will man every outlet so that anybody that grabs it, snatches it, and runs with it will meet brick wall. Anywhere you turn to, you have to meet brick wall, because citizens are supposed to be, they are the stakeholders. This is their election. They are the ones who decide who gets in and out of office. So if people feel that now the new template is this, and then they take it to the next level, and you saw arms, you saw people being paraded naked and telling their stories on live video, mentioning their names and who they work for, and the kind of work that they do. It is that is the situation that we are in. I'm sure you must have seen that video where
all sorts of videos. All sorts of videos. See. Okay, real quick, let's move into Kogi. We are going to look at the 3 states briefly. Let's move into Kogi. It started by discovery of some written results. You remember. Thereafter, some areas were cancelled. Now, later after the entire process, Ododo was declared winner. And all the other contestants, including Ajaka, and all the complained bitterly about malpractices. I want you to give us an insight of how you see Kogi in isolation. You know, the way the whole story started. Even before the election, there's been an announcement that there were going to be up to 40,000 security forces. And then the questions were now that, are the security forces going to be providing security, or are they going to be giving some of the security to aid the ruling party? All sorts of rumors and criticisms and postulations were rife over everywhere. From the outcome, now, in spite of the fact that we still have some parts that will still be rerun, I don't know when INEC will decide to do that. What do you make of the Kogi region of the off-cycle elections?
Kogi is a very interesting state. It was never in conversation this much until the emergence of the exiting governor, Yahaya Bello. And you know how Yahaya Bello emerged. The man that won the election, Abubakar, what is his name now, died before he could be sworn in. And the party felt the deputy cannot inherit the vacuum. And they brought in Yahaya Bello, who, if you had seen the view of, I think, Bishop Matthew Kuka about Yahaya Bello, who happens to be the youngest governor in Nigeria, the questions are, is he a good role model? And on ground in Kogi State, what has been his achievements, the legacies he has left? Politically, the last election where he got a second term, I think the woman leader, one of the frontline women in Kogi State, was murdered, I think burnt alive in her house after the elections. And I've seen a video, not just videos. One of it has to do with the, it is said to be the residence of the chairman of the campaign council of the SDP, where some persons must have invaded and maybe killed, I don't know the number of persons. You saw blood everywhere. Even the security agents that were videoing it were screaming, Jesus, Jesus. They have never seen anything like that. Very gory sight. And you saw, there's a particular video where somebody is said to be a council chairman. The other one is said an auditor general with tons of money and arms. And we saw even what happened during the the last presidential elections, where the access road to Natasha Akpoti's constituency was docked up by the government, and Yaya Bello owned up that the government did it to cut off bandits or thugs from accessing that area to foment trouble, which is a story that can only be told to gullible minds. Be that as it may, I had reservations for Kogi when people talk about peace, and you've not had anything to show that this has been their style. The promise is just mere talk. Unfortunately, and quite unfortunately, we saw results being filled before elections, before commencement of even accreditation. INEC officials had pre-written results, live results, and INEC has not disowned that. But all the same, they still went ahead to conduct the elections. And despite saying that they are going to conduct elections in a number of wards and units, the winner has been announced. And from what has been said, that the conduct of a fresh election is subject to the returning officer's determination of what is called, what do they call that now?
Margin of lead principle.
Application of margin of lead principle. I don't understand. If the election was inconclusive, why did you have to announce a winner and then talk about going to conduct or hoping to conduct? I don't understand. You see, we all are not charmed by void in this country. We are so intelligent, we are so patriotic that some things that are said in public domain makes nonsense of who we are. And citizens should not allow that. Politicians should not define who we are. Before someone makes this kind of statement, we'll have seen the margin. Look at the scores already that from what has been made available. I think you've shared it already, that Ododo of APC has secured 446,237 votes, as against Ajaka of SDP 259,000. So the other units and wards that the election are to be conducted, what is the margin there? It is only when you have the margin in areas where elections have been cancelled, being able to substantially affect the outcome of result. You don't announce the winner. You just declare the election inconclusive until you finish conducting. Like what has happened in Bayelsa State. So
I was going to draw that reference.
Local government areas.
I was going to draw that reference, because if they are applying, according to the Electoral Act as amended, if they are applying the margin of lead principle, then the question, just like you said, is why go ahead to announce a winner? Like Bayelsa, we do not know the margin it's not really clear, because the remaining local governments, we don't know the number of turnouts that it will be. We don't know the eventual size of people that will vote. And as such, INEC was quiet about that until the whole results are turned in and properly collated. Why was INEC in a hurry to announce that off Kogi State has been a lot of issues? And since yesterday up till now, the most formidable of all the opposition, Ahmed Ajaka, if I'm correct with his name, of the SDP, recalled that he was a former member of the APC. He was among the people who cried out when Yaya Bello took Ododo in as his candidate for the APC before he now left to the SDP. He's been crying out that a lot of irregularities have happened, and that in even some local governments where you have few voters, there's been turnout of hundreds of thousands of valid votes. And he now used the opportunity to say, okay, he doesn't think the federal INEC is involved in this, but all the people he has they've sent to Kogi, that is starting from the INEC rec and the commissioners and all the senior officers that are in Kogi, should be properly investigated. It's the same complaint that Dino Melaye is having It's also the same complaint that what's the name of the guy that was arrested of the AA is also having, that Kogi was especially fraught with a lot of election irregularities. But here is my question here. It may sound rhetorical, but is it in the nature of politicians that have not won elections to always cry foul? We are still using this Kogi as hypothetical illustration, because a lot of people have also argued that when the things go right for the politicians, there is no hue and cry. But as soon as the things go wrong, even those who have no business saying anything, people who have not been able to gather a few thousands of votes will also be the first in the front line to complain. Is this applicable in the case of Kogi, bearing in mind all the things that have happened?
Yeah, it's the same talk, the same conversation we've been having over the years, and we still continue. It does not matter if somebody who is crying foul now at the point won an election which others considered to have been questionable. For me, what matters is the process. Anybody can emerge a winner, but let it be through credible process. Where you see this kind of situation, where Professor Johnson Urama, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics of University of Nigeria, Nsukka, could announce a winner and then turn around to say that, oh, they are going to, now election is going to be conducted, fresh election in a number of wards in Ogori and Magoko, to be conducted on Saturday. They have even fixed the date. It shows that the difference in the votes in that say area will be substantial enough to upturn the result. So if that is true, how on earth, what will you tell your children in the family when you go back? Oh, that election, thank God I'm back, saying it was so much crisis, but I did my best and I rejected a result that were brought in that were already pre-filled, and this led to this. How would you tell somebody that there are votes in a number of units where elections to be conducted on Saturday, and then you announce a winner? That is first. So anybody, no matter how untrained, no matter how unlearned, should be able to know that there's something wrong there. Let the process be right. Let anybody win. For now, you know that because of poverty, you still find vote buying. I monitored the elections reports on radio, live reports, and there was a radio station that reported that the person said that he witnessed votes being bought at a specific amount. Is it 4,000 naira or thereabout? So voters are not conscious enough to know that your vote is your life and your destiny. So even if those ones are the ones to determine the destiny of the state or even the country, let the outcome be coordinated properly. I cannot imagine that INEC could see their own staff being arrested with ready filled result, pre-filled result on original sheet, and then the entire state is not shut down. To recall all the resource sheets, because you can never
Okay, I do not know if Citizen Martin... Okay.
Images had lower turnout. So okay. It's questionable, and that still puts a question mark on the integrity of the umpire. We talk about the security. 40,000, 30,000, 20,000. We saw armor tanks being rolled into Imo State.
Okay, that of Kogi State, the question still remains, these allegations, how true are they? Because if you look at the margin of lead, I don't know whether my producer can put that picture for Kogi that has the polling numbers back. If you look at the margin of lead between Usman Ododo and the nearest to him, which is Muri Ajaka, it's close to at least over 120 to 30,000 votes or thereabouts, if my math will allow me. And Ajaka has said that he can assure Nigerians that over 100 and something thousand votes have been hijacked by Governor Bello Yahaya and his cohorts. It is now left for him and his team to prove that. And I don't know, they say that these issues morality do not really count. But just like Comrade Citizen Matthew Kofi Okono has said, why would you go ahead to announce such a result? One, that already has dispute. Two, that even before the process started in the first place, there had been sensitive materials being brought out with pre-written results. All these are very serious issues. And Citizen Matthew is saying, why don't you just shut down the state and rearrange the entire process? But of course, that will cost us billions of naira more. And these are the issues. Funny enough, this result came as a shocker because we expected that it would be Dino Melaye that would be closely contending. It would not have been Muri Ajaka as we have seen. So which means people were behind the APC because Muri Ajaka was a strong member of the APC before. It was after the primaries and the dissatisfaction that he now went to the SDP. And he says the people are the structure and that is hugely popular. PDP was beaten to a far third position, if not even worse, at 40-something thousand votes. I want you to take a look at those numbers, Citizen, and make your comments on them.
Yeah. Well, for me, I am quite happy that Dino was the candidate of the PDP. Want to prove a point because he has been very vocal and he has been everywhere. And for me, one of the challenges that PDP had in the presidential election, he was a factor because if he was able to tell the party and its principal that it was time for power shift to South, I'm telling you, Dino Melaye will have maybe been in government by now. So he's.
So you think that hugely affected him?
Have a grasp of power.
So you think that hugely affected him?
Yeah, it affected him. Not just that. APC is divided seriously in Kogi State. You look at Smart Adeyemi and other aspirants for the ticket.
Now, Citizen,
and what's happened?
You have helped me. You have helped me to expand my point. So, if APC is hugely divided, we all know Muri Ajaka left from the APC, and because of Ododo's choice, he went to the SDP. Now, if you look at Ododo has 400,000 plus. Ajaka had 250-something thousand plus. And then the PDP that was supposed to be the major opposition in the state can only talk about 40-something thousand plus votes. The division of the APC, is it really, really showing in Kogi from the numbers you can see? I don't know if my producer can post that slide again that has the exact number of votes.
Reality for me is that we cannot rely on the votes, on the figures given here and there. We cannot, but just that somebody has to be a winner. But what I do know is that a number of persons who are APC members are quite dissatisfied with the style of Yaya Bello. So they are not just trying to vote against APC. They are trying to say no to Yaya Bello.
My point exactly. Do these figures show? Do these figures show that they voted against the APC? See Usman Ododo,
So because
446,000.
Ajaka, the vote scored by Ajaka may likely be very real, more real than what may actually be
I agree with you.
what has been
I agree with you.
attributed to APC, because from what we saw, the pre-field result that is in public domain has APC as the beneficiary. So until a thorough investigation is done, or there should have been a shutdown and recall of all the result sheets, we will have known the way forward. You know, Yaya Bello is a young man and he has his own style. And you cannot fault anybody who wants to live his life the way he wants to live, but you have to determine how that person's lifestyle affects you. So it's unfortunate that the Professor Rama, has allowed what took place in Kogi to have a soft landing without putting them under pressure to prove that, yes, the result brought in from the various units. Remember as well, I have said the last Supreme Court judgment had to do with the fact that the beavers, electronic transmission, is not mandatory, and there's no way to check what Nigerians are clamored for, which is transparency. Let votes be transmitted from your unit, and you use beavers to do accreditation and transmission of the result real time. People are very happy, unscrupulous persons are very happy with the latest outcome, that it is now business more than as usual. By all means, win.
Okay.
And let any other person go to court.
Okay.
So there's so many question marks, and yeah.
Okay, citizen, let's quickly look at Imo.
I'm with you.
As we begin to wrap up. I don't know if my producer can display that of Imo. The contest was usually between three major persons: Hope Uzodinma, Senator Ethan Achonu, and the PDP, handsome PDP man. I do not know whether those figures are also available. If you look at that of Hope Uzodinma, it was a very huge margin also. And a lot of people have complained. The person who seems to be the most complainant is the Labour Party candidate, that's Senator Ethan Achonu, who complained bitterly and said he was going to court. Meanwhile, let me drag you back. Ajaka has said that, being the runners-up, that he does not have confidence in the court and he may not likely be going to court because of the outcome of a lot of the cases he had seen. But here is Senator Achonu saying that he will go to court. And the political party, the Labour Party, has also thrown its weight behind Senator Achonu, saying that they will give him support whichever way direction he wants to take. I want you to comment on that of Imo State.
Well, Imo State, for me, it's like where you have the WAEC have conducted exams in various centers, and then you find some persons leaving their schools to go and put exams in one remote school like that, and they call it magic centers.
It was not in Imo State that we saw pre-written results. If I had even heard it from my wildest imagination, and I was asked to guess from the three states, the first that I, based on the coverage and the reports, would have guessed will be Kogi State, not Imo. Of course, we know Imo's case is a major issue of violence, and the incumbent governor, who's also a contestant and an interested party, has been pointing accusing fingers to the oppositions, even naming names. There was a time he named Rochas Okorocha's son-in-law, what's his name, Ogumba, Uche Nwosu, has been the perpetrator of violence. So for Imo, if you say miraculous, you may have to break it down so that our audience can understand.
Yeah.
So that our audience can understand.
Yes, why I say it's a magic center, sort of, is because Uzodinma became governor and became nicknamed a Supreme Court governor. He came third or fourth, and he was made the winner. Eventually, they threw out the man that was actually declared winner by INEC. And throughout his tenure, first term, it's been crisis. Imo State has become the hotbed of terrorism, of killings in the entire Southeast. And just few days to the election, he had a very major clash with the workers, which led to the beating up of the national president of the Nigeria Labour Congress. And what I said to myself during that episode, knowing that Imo State is owing salaries, is owing entitlements to the region of 160-something billion from 2007. And within his period, he had given them promise that he was going to start paying. He never did. And then I said to myself, a governor that wants to contest, go into election, would do everything possible to buy votes by at least paying these things and making friends with Labour. But that wasn't to be. So it's like,
maybe there are other ways. Maybe there were other ways of buying votes, but we are not making any allegations. But I'm interested in the part where you say it's a miracle center.
What I'm saying is that people even felt that there's going to be voter apathy, given the level of insecurity in Imo State. But look at the figure. For Uzodinma alone, 540,308 votes. And his closest rival, the votes allotted to him is 64,000. Oh, sorry, PDP, 71,000. And Achono, who has been very popular, has 64,000 votes. And Hope Uzodinma has won all the local government areas, I think 27 local government areas or so in Imo State. That borders on the miraculous, given the public perception, not just because he has performed. Some of us are yet to see projects, programs being used to campaign that, oh, I have done this, I have done that. But that is not the case in this. That's not the case here. So it's a magic. It's a miracle center. It's a magic center. And if finally Achonu goes to court, he's not able to prove that there were no elections in Osu, Olu, Idiato North, Okigwe, Oguta, were the municipality. The results were written like he has alleged. We had to give it to Uzodinma that he won. But if you juxtapose that with what Ajaka has said, that he doesn't have confidence in the court, he won't go to court, that would be the worst thing to happen. You see something about going to court. It's not just for you to go and retrieve mandate.
True.
It is to expose the rot in the system. Like that essay to the deputy governorship candidate of Bayelsa, who is paraded naked to the global community, you know, it is the same thing that has happened to some persons who are even through with the courts. And their cases they have been declared winners, but they have been stripped naked in the real sense. It's not enough that you are in office, but you may be in office. The credibility is not there because the people know the truth. We cannot. I have respect for judiciary. It's not only the judiciary or, in fact, every institution in the country is under attack. And that has been given credence by what Justice Datijo said in his vacated session, that it's not the judiciary that they came in. So it's not the entire judiciary, it is individuals. Yes, it's like when people talk about Nigeria police, there are angels there, and I've been privileged to be a beneficiary of the wonderful work Nigeria police is doing. So when somebody says Nigeria police was most corrupt, I said no. I have benefited immensely. I have been protected. I have been given justice.
Citizen, with all due respect to you,
people must go to court.
With all due respect to you, a lot of people will argue that last statement you made because you've benefited from the police doesn't make them angels. I'm not saying I'm sharing my own opinion. I'm saying from the public space, there's been argument back and forth on the police. But let's stay on course. You try to explain the part where you felt it was a miracle center. And something is peculiar to Kogi and Imo. Or is it that media is involved yet again in propaganda? If by reports we are getting, Yahaya Bello did not perform, Yahaya Bello has done this, he's the youngest, but he's not a good example, he has not harnessed a lot of opportunities, and then we come to Imo, and then we hear that one of the major allegations against Hope Uzodinma is his style of using violence. I'm not confirming that he has been, confirmed to be a violent governor. I'm just saying these are the things we have in public space. And yet again, by the voting figures, you see massive margins. Is it that the media has not reported well, or is the media actually exaggerating these things, or is there something fundamentally wrong? I don't know whether you see it in the line that I'm seeing it.
No, you don't bring in media here. Media is just reporting what the returning officer the returning officer there is Professor Abayomi Fasina, University of in Ado-Ekiti.
Yeah,
that's what media does. I give it to the media. Without the media, we wouldn't be where we are. Though there are still concerns because politicians have learned to corrupt every sector. They are in the civil society. They form their own civil society. And a study by Carnegie Endowment for World Peace, done by Matthew T. Page, shows that pro-government NGOs is quite enormous, and they are everywhere because they get the funding to do propaganda and to attack the real NGOs and civil society groups that want to bring credibility to what the group should be doing.
That's correct.
And the media is supposed to be a watchdog. The media is supposed to be non-partisan. In fact, I think it was Ganifa Emida said, media is next to the gown. Media and judiciary have a lot in common.
Anyway, I belong to
the military would have gone.
I belong to the media. I'm not attacking the media. I'm saying as against the reports from media. Just like you said, that email may have been a miracle center. There's been complaints, specific complaints in Kogi, same complaints in Imo. From the results, a lot of people would have felt this was an opportunity for the electors to vote them out. But it doesn't seem to be. They did not win with a small margin. Look at Imo. I think what Hope Uzodinma has, the runner-up is barely 30% of what he has gathered as vote. I'm just using the media as a vehicle to convey this information. What must have happened? As we wrap up, citizen.
What has happened is what may grow worse in 2027 if there are no clear reforms and attitudinal change in the polity. It is unfortunate that you don't need to be a performer. You don't need to deliver good governance to get re-elected. You don't even need to have pre-qualification. You don't need to just be connected. I'm afraid going forward, it will be impossible for a businessman or for some person in civil society who feels, let me throw my hat into the ring to get into an election, because everything seems packaged, programmed, and the highest will be go to court. And then you may go to court, God forbid, you go and meet a kind of situation where even the judges will, after pronouncing the judgment, they will declare that this judgment should not be quoted or cited in future. It is very possible that we'll get to that. I'm going to do a research. I understand that the 1979 judgment by the Supreme Court over the 12 2/3 between UPN and MPN somebody spoke today on radio and said that the Supreme Court actually said that judgment should not be cited. That will have been self-indictment until I confirm that. I'm just throwing it open so that we can all of us do an investigation.
Okay.
We cannot be having the kind of judgment where even the justices will now make a pronouncement. Please, after now, don't cite our judgments. Because I'm afraid if some basic questions are put in the secondary school exams for our children about what has just transpired on the Electoral Act, the Statutes of Abuja, and other cases, I bet you a child that will write some things that came out of judgments may fail. Because it is a completely new thinking and a new constitution which legal luminaries, lawyers, civil society, thinkers, patriots should have a roundtable to see the new laws that have been able to put in place based on the 2023 general elections and their outcomes in court. And then going forward, how do we safeguard democracy? This is not democracy. It cannot be. Even if it's a civil rule, this cannot be said to be about people. It is now about few individuals where you must likely have a questionable background to be able to make it among the list, no matter how remote you want to get into the system, you must be able to do something that is unusual. Yes.
Citizen, we have barely 45 seconds to wrap up this. I'm going to ask you this question. Monosyllable, yes or no, so that we don't waste time. Do you feel, or do you think the average Nigerian feels the effect of the amended constitution few years ago from all the processes we've had, general elections, off-cycle elections, and a few other elections, and the one we are expecting in November in Edo State? Because you know, Edo is a hotbed of serious political moving parts, if I'm allowed to say that. Do you feel the effect of the amended constitution? It's a yes or no answer, sir, so that we can shut down.
Talking about the Electoral Act, not just the Constitution, Electoral Act in particular.
Yes, I'm talking about the Electoral Act, please.
I'm talking about the Electoral Act. Electoral Act, for now, for me, it's like it's been suspended because nobody's looking at, do we have rules? INEC has a blank check to decide what to do during elections.
All right,
and some people are even saying, INEC, just decide who you want to govern at any level, and then the rest will be history.
Thank you. We've been speaking to Citizen Matthew Kofi Okono, founder and president of Open Forum, a very dogged member of civil society, and a public affairs analyst who has been monitoring the elections. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us today. We hope that you would find time to join us on the next edition that we call. Thank you. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
All right, that's about all we can take today. Tomorrow, when developments come out, I'm sure whatever happens in Kogi and Bayelsa, and even Imo would probably try to continue on it tomorrow, amongst other national issues. Remember all our social media platforms. You can communicate with us, especially on Facebook, Spectrum TV Live. And you can reach us via Twitter, via X, formerly known as Twitter, at Spectrum T Online. Remember, the conversations of nation building and deepening democracy can never be exhausted. Until the next edition, I remain yours sincerely, Onumese Ehinoma Olusegun, signing out and saying, have a great rest of the day.